This is the Brompton Electric. 4 years in the making, the British bike brand has added a front hub motor and a battery pack to its world famous folding bike to give it some extra oomph.
So now, this isn't something we usually review on Cycling Weekly. It's completely different, really.
No, it hasn't got drop handlebars,
No.
which is our rule, but
you love it so much that you just had to do a video review on it, right?
I was taken out on it for the day by Brompton, and yeah, I loved it. Just a great little bike. If you work in a city and have to get on a train, this is the sort of bike you need. A folding bike, so you can make use of public transport and still pedal your way to the office. There are lots of these sat in cupboards under the stairs, under tables, in bike riders' homes, and they are a fantastic little bit of kit.
So what makes Brompton as a folding bike so special? Because it is one of the biggest British brands, bike brands that sell across the world. I mean, 70%, over 70% is exported out of the UK, but what makes it so good?
It is. It's a British manufacturing success story, really. They sell all around the world to basically any big city anywhere in the world. You'll find people riding Bromptons. They have their concept stores in a lot of those big cities. Japan, big cities in China, America, Europe. Any city where there is congestion and transport issues, you will find people bombing around on Bromptons. The beauty of them, and they are a design classic, is how they fold up in 4 stages into a very small compact unit. You then pick it up by its saddle and you can walk it onto a train or into your office, into your home. It's just very, very portable. Most people know the rules on trains in the UK. You cannot take a full-size, standard-size bike onto a train at certain times of the day, exactly when people are going to work need to take a bike with them, but you can take a folding bike onto a train. So this is a solution to that.
So this handmade British bike, all built within London, isn't it?
Yeah, if you go to their factory in Greenford, you can see the people welding away. They obviously import the Shimano components and certain things, but the frames are all made, welded, sprayed, put together, all the components on a very, very slick production line in their factory, and you can sit there and watch. It's a really impressive operation.
But what makes this one extra special?
Well, it's the battery and the motor. So Brompton teamed up with McLaren to build this motor. The reason it was so long in the making is because they've had to make their own motor from scratch. The 2 big e-bike motor manufacturers, Bosch and Shimano, with their step system, base theirs around their hubs. Mm-hmm. The motor is set in there. Now Brompton couldn't have that because they need to keep this, the confines of the bike to fold it up are very, very tight. You've got millimetres of clearance here, so that they just couldn't put a motor in there. They had to put it in their hub and keep it out of the way. So they had to build that from scratch. Now when I was there, they took that apart and started explaining how they built it, and it all went way over my head. These are some top engineers working on this. I think when they went to McLaren, they thought, yeah, well, we can do that. That's an easy project. It was not an easy project, partly because the tolerances in there are so tight. There's millimetres of clearance in there, sub-millimetre clearance. But also, the really clever thing about this whole system is, well, it goes back to what Brompton wanted, and they wanted it to feel like you were riding a bike. They didn't want it to feel like you were on a moped or being moved around. So it has to work, that motor has to work with you and your legs. It has to know what you want to do and when you're trying to do it. And it does that by measuring a range of things that are going on around here to deliver that power, the right amount of power at the right time to assist your pedalling to the right amount, because especially when you're riding through traffic, you don't want to be any sudden surges or sudden drop-offs in power. It's got to work with your legs, and to do that, it's got to know what you're doing. And it's brilliant. It does it.
So without going into too much scientific detail, there are some sensors in the bottom bracket, right, that measure your output and then assist you in the power that you need at the time. So whether you're in a big gear and you're pushing down quite hard, or you're going faster, how does that work?
So the system's brain is located here, which is also the latch for the battery that it sits on, and that's doing the bulk of the computing, but it's taking measurements from the hub and from the bottom bracket. So it's measuring your torque, your speed, your power, and it's calculating all those and your acceleration to work out what you're trying to do. And then when it knows what you're trying to do, it delivers the right amount of power and torque to the motor and helps you with your acceleration. But also equally important, it doesn't just drop off the power when you hit the 25k an hour, the limit. It'll smoothly drop on and off.
The battery?
Yeah.
Who makes that?
The battery is by Samsung, who make most batteries in the world apparently, but neatly put into the little pack on the front of the Brompton. And the beauty of this bike is, unlike many others, is it just comes off. Now, I made that look a little bit hard, that's because it's up high. When it's down there, you just press that button and off it pops. You've got a shoulder strap in there, put it over your shoulder, and that's 2 kilos off the weight of your bike. You can wheel it somewhere, or you could then fold it up and take it off with you.
So you could lock that up and then have the battery secure with you, because obviously that's a large portion of the technology that you don't want to lose, right? You don't want to obviously lose your bike, but you don't want someone nabbing your...
And of course, you can, if you lock the bike up outside or wherever, you take the battery off with you and you can charge it in your office or at home as well. So you don't have to plug the bike in, you just take the battery off and you plug that in to charge it up.
So talking of batteries and power, how much does this battery give you?
So it's a 300 watts per hour battery, and it'll give you a range of about 20 to 45 mile, but it really depends on how the rider uses it. You've got 3 power settings, low, medium and high, and that'll deliver more or less power quite clearly. It'll also power the lights on the bike, so depending on how you use it, it decides how much range you get from it really. If you're a heavy user, using lots of assistance, then you'll drain it quite quickly. If you're a bit lighter on it and not putting in so much power, having a lower setting, you'll get the 45 miles out of it.
But for its application, 45 miles is actually quite a long way in a city commuting, right?
Yeah, you'd think most people who use this bike are riding to the train station 2 miles, maybe more, maybe less, and then a couple of miles the other side as well. So you'd think it would last you a week quite easily with that sort of usage.
Yeah, but if you were caught short and you needed to charge it during work hours, for example, how long is that going to take?
I think the charger that comes with it will take about 3.5 hours to get 80% power into the battery. You can buy a more powerful charger with a higher ampage that will charge it in about an hour and a half. Cost you about an extra £115, I think.
So a big issue with e-bikes, especially the bottom bracket based systems that power from the bottom bracket, there's sometimes a lot of resistance, especially when the battery isn't driving power. So with the hub-based system on the Brompton, do you get any of that? If I was to take this away, or you run out of battery, can you still get around fine? Is there any lag? Is there any resistance?
I found you could. I mean, you can just push that front wheel around fairly easy. There's very little resistance there, but no in there.
Well, it's still spinning, isn't it? Right?
Yeah, so I didn't find any. And yeah, if you lose power in your battery or you don't have it, you can just ride it like a normal Brompton really. There is extra weight in that motor, and there's a tiny bit of extra weight because they reinforced the bottom bracket and the stem. But it's once you've got that battery off, you could ride it. You could ride as a normal Brompton. They had to keep the weight down because if they made it too heavy, people couldn't pick it up. That is a Brompton's USP. So they had to keep that hub light enough. It comes in about 17.6 kilos. I did take it around the shop with me. I had the battery over one shoulder and I was trying to carry the bike in another, and I gave up in the end. It's not ideal for wandering around a shop with. You'd want to lock it up outside, but for just carrying onto a train or into an office, you can still carry it. But it is heavy. I think you'd struggle if you had a big heavy backpack on and you were carrying that up a couple of flights of stairs. It would be a bit of a struggle, but it's just about doable.
So for commuting around town, how have you found the Brompton Electric? Has it changed your experience of commuting in a city?
I mean, I've ridden Brompton without the battery, and that changed it more so. Riding a bike around a city is just the best way to get around a city. Way better than a sweaty underground train, and much quicker than walking, waiting for a bus. It's brilliant. This is better still. The thing I really liked about it was how quickly it got me up to speed away from a standing start. That's when cyclists are most vulnerable in traffic. Everyone slightly wobbles away from a standing start when you're at your least stable. This gets you up to speed really, really quickly, especially on the most powerful setting. And you're up and running to 25 kilometres an hour, its limit, in absolutely no time. So it just takes any danger out, and that's in a straight line away from a junction on a corner. It's really stable, really quick, really smooth. And it just gives you a much better sense of safety because you're at the same speed as traffic or getting away from them from a standing start. And I think that for me was the best thing about this.
And so this is the 6-speed model, right?
Yeah, this is 6-speed, so it's got a 3-speed internal Sturmey Archer rear hub, but it's got 2 sprockets on the outside, so you can. There's very little difference on the 2 sprockets on the outside. Most of the difference comes from the internal gears. It feels very nippy, 25k an hour on a bike like that. But yeah, you're never spinning away. The biggest gear on there is just right for that speed, and holding it when the battery backs off as well. Last year, Brompton invited me to race at the Invitational at the Cycling Revival at Herne Hill Velodrome. That was a Le Mans style start, and it was handicapped, and that was done by your speed for folding the Brompton up. So this is how you do it. This is obviously a little bit slower because you've got a battery to come off. Now you can put that over your shoulder, but we're just going to put it aside. There's 4 steps to the folding process. If you watch 2012 on BBC, you will remember the guy fumbling with it all the time. The back wheel swings round underneath very easily like that. Then you undo your first hinge there. Make sure you pick it up at the bottom of the stem. Flick that round, and there's a little plastic hook to go on the chainstay like that. Then you undo your next hinge, and if it's all lined up correct, that should just drop down, and the little bung goes into that clip there. Then all you have to do is drop the saddle down, and that locks the whole system in place, and off you go. Oh no, I forgot. You flick the pedal in as well, so that doesn't get you on the shin every 5 minutes, like that. So now it's your turn to do it. Do you think you can remember that?
No, but I'll give it a good try.
Go. Time has started. He's forgotten the battery.
Battery off. There we go. Don't worry about that. And then you go, what are we doing? What have we done? I've done the wrong one. Have I done the wrong one?
You've done the wrong hinge.
Oh,
yeah.
start again. Start
No,
again.
you carry on.
What?
You've got to do that one back up. Put your back wheel down.
Right. You could have been
That's
giving me a
it.
bit of help, mate.
That's it. You you've undone the right one. Now you've got the front wheel caught the wrong side of the rear wheel. That's it. Now you're there. That's.
Oh.
Let's get the hook
Yeah,
on the
I've got that
chainstay.
in.
That's it.
Oh, look at that.
And you drop that one down.
Bam. Bam.
Stop.
And me pedal, mate. How do I do the pedal?
I'm not timing the pedal, so that's over a minute.
That's not too bad.
So not your normal bike for Cycling Weekly, but they are a lot of fun. And if you do commute and use public transport, this is an absolute godsend. It will get you around town much quicker than any other mode of transport.
If you did like this video, please do like and subscribe. But until next time, we'll see you then. I got a bit dizzy, mate.